soon as I did that, my IG done shut down, and now it's give me a second. All right, we about to get going. My IG just shut down for some reason, so I'm just trying to make sure. Just trying to connect.
Okay.
Okay, it's not connecting. It ain't connected for some reason. Y'all see me trying to go live?
It's not showing here. Cody motivation, right?
Hold on, we having some technical issues. Can y'all hear me?
I can.
Okay. So we live here. We're not live here.
Aaron, I'm Natalie. Have we met?
I don't think so.
Okay,
I'm
I just know that
Aaron.
your name is Aaron because they were like, did
Wait,
she?
y'all never met for real?
I
No.
don't think so.
Oh wow. I'm sorry.
It's
Yeah, I'll go again.
nice to meet you, Natalie.
You too, Aaron.
You
For
know what,
sure.
man? For some reason, it's not. Oh, I am live. Okay, I'm
There you
live
Yeah.
go.
on IG. Okay, good. So y'all go ahead and find me here. That's Aaron. Okay, boom.
There we go.
So, well, we'll talk about this when we're done. Well,
There we go.
sorry, ladies.
It's
Here we
all
are.
good.
I just thought, I mean, man, we've been at it for so long. I thought everybody was already, locked in. But so I hear
Mhm.
feedback. That's from somebody. Somebody.
No, I don't have any feedback.
You're in my AirPods right here,
I
and
mean, okay. Well, don't worry about it. I can ignore that. Well,
um,
Aaron, you got to come into. Hold on. Hold on. I don't know how to do it, so you're gonna have to send that request.
I don't know. I requested to join though.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, boom.
Oh, it just said you accepted me.
So that way, that might be your feedback.
there we go.
I hear feedback somewhere. Where is it?
All right.
Mine is muted.
Okay, don't even worry about it. But listen, thank you, ladies, for uh, uh, loaning me your time, right, as we go live and talk about some of the things that most
Hey, Tasha.
people aren't comfortable talking about. Yeah, that's okay.
My esthetician just joined. Hey, Tasha.
Audition.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like I
she's
hear
sweet.
feedback, and it's real distracting. I'm trying to figure out where it's coming from.
I don't
But
know. I'm
anyway,
muted.
don't even worry about it. So listen, ladies, thank you for like I said, just join this live, and we got some good stuff to talk about as it relates to grief and coping skills. But before we get started, I want to shout out all my motivators out there. Y'all go ahead and put an AU in the comments if you're there. I want to introduce myself. I'm your number one motivator, Cody Martin, licensed therapist, motivational speaker, and everything else in between. I am joined with two queens, Natalie Alexander and Aaron Jones. I will let you ladies introduce yourselves, tell them who you are, your expertise, these dope support groups that you guys are facilitating within the community, aka the yard. Y'all make sure y'all go Adversity University. Excuse me, that's the wrong site. adversityuonline.com. Y'all can access these support groups, join the private community, access the support groups. These support groups are led by dope licensed therapists. It's not therapy, it's support and guidance. And they are the absolute perfect people to give you that guidance and that support. But anyway, let me start running my mouth so much. Natalie, I'll let you introduce yourself, and Aaron, you can follow, and we'll get into the discussion. Right. Dope. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. All right. Miss Aaron Jones.
Hey everybody, let me also shout out my friend. I saw my friend Pastor Isaiah Robertson out in Compton, California, is on the live. So I want to shout him out. He just left Cartersville and went back to his hometown of Compton. Okay. And it's pastoring there. But my name is Aaron Jones. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I have been in private practice now for about 3 years, going on 3 years. And my particular point of expertise, both on a personal level, from education in a personal regard and professionally, is grief and loss. Most of my career has been spent in hospice social work. And so I've dealt a lot with anticipatory grieving and then bereavement as well, but also just expanding it, just not until death, not even just looking at it as a perspective of like death, but just grieving dreams or grieving a divorce or grieving, so many different things that we don't necessarily classify. But when things don't go our way, typically, and it's a deep pain, we usually do have some feelings of grief associated with that. So, I know tonight's discussion is going to go more in depth, into that. And I'm excited to talk about that. And the support group also on Adversity U is about grief and loss. And, we came up with that just because after the pandemic, there's been such tremendous loss. And then even collective grief through the social justice piece that we've experienced throughout, with police overreach and different things like that. So the mass shooting in Buffalo, Uvalde, so many different things. So it's a lot, to process.
Yeah, so that's dope. So listen, I was hearing a lot of feedback on your end, and so I want to make sure that everybody could be able to hear you. So maybe try to turn that computer down, or
it's muted. Mine is muted, so I'm not sure.
Mine was muted too, and I unmuted it, but I can definitely, let's see. Oh,
okay. But
so when you want me to mute it, or
you good? When you talk, it's good. I don't hear any feedback now. When Aaron talk, I hear feedback.
Okay.
When you talk, I hear feedback too, Cody. Not with Natalie. So Natalie's doing something right. I don't know.
So we struggling over here, but listen, we gonna get it going. We gonna figure it out. I'm gonna tell you that. But listen, Now those were great introductions, ladies, and and it was a perfect segue when you mentioned when you were speaking to grief and loss, and you made mention that it's just not associated with death. That's one of the biggest misconceptions that we have, period, and within our community. That when we talk about grief and loss, we're only talking about death, but people got to realize a lot of times that they grieve things other than somebody passing. You mentioned, job. You lose a job. You lose a friend. You lose a spouse. Boyfriend or girlfriend. Whatever the case may be, we tend to grieve and don't really understand that. I guess deeper in the conversation, I want to definitely tap into the stages of grief, because again, oftentimes people don't really realize that there's a process as it relates to grieving. There's a grieving process. You got to hit all those stages, but it's not a cookie cutter experience. You don't go through the grieving. What is it? 5 steps of grief, right? 5 stages of grief. You don't go through those stages in order. You know what I mean? Don't be like, okay, well, I'm depressed, now I'm angry. Nah, accept it. It happens. It happens over time. It could be sooner for some people. It could be stretched out over a longer period of time for other people. But it's very important that, number one, that you understand that you can identify with a lot of these feelings and emotions, and you can know that you know what you're going through. One of the issues that we have is when people feel certain feelings that they never felt before, they don't really understand it. They don't understand themselves. And then they kind of fall into a deeper stage of depression because they feeling like not only don't other people understand them, but they don't understand themselves. So we're going to be tapping into, grief a lot, and just different ways to cope with grief and to deal with grief, and to be able to manage yourself and navigate in the way that you really need to navigate. So on that topic, I just kind of want to just talk about it, as it relates to, okay, I know a perfect segue. The live we did like 2 weeks ago, Kim and I, and we were talking about, what were we talking about? What was that live about? I done forgot what the live was about. But anyway, wait, what was the live about? Hold on.
I think it was about the seasons, the season of the holidays and what people can expect in the feelings.
Yeah, the season of depression.
Yes.
Which is a good topic to kind of come on now, talking about grief and coping skills, because like we talked about before, we are walking into the holidays, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of people deal with holiday depression. A lot of people deal with holiday depression because it's associated with loss of a loved one, mainly, right? And, the great feelings that was associated with, the holiday experience are no longer great experiences. Those are actually a burden emotionally for a lot of people, right? And I mentioned before, like the last live, how yes, it's okay for us to feel those ways. It's okay for us to go through, that process, but it ain't always fair for our loved ones. It ain't fair for our spouses. It's not fair for our kids, because we shouldn't shit on their happiness because we're going through something, right? So it's important to kind of talk about that. I don't want to overpower this conversation, but I just kind of, y'all can speak to that.
Okay, go ahead, Erin.
I was just gonna say, and I feel that, and I think that's really sweet. However, I think being disingenuous about your feelings and about how you feel, like, you can only fake that for so long. I mean, you know what I mean? And if it gets to a point to where you just can't pull yourself out of that space, then that's definitely a time that's a good indicator that you probably need some professional help, or like some support through a support group, or just individual counseling, because it is hard. Like, losing someone that you love is hard, and that needs to be acknowledged. It's hard in our society because everything that we do is to live. So when we meet death, whether it's a loved one, a friend, or whatever the case, it's always a stranger. No one ever gets, used to it. And because there's never really any open conversation about it, it's always this taboo and, all of those kind of things. And we put so much negative emotion, like it's appropriate to cry because you miss somebody that is gone. That's congruent, right? That's what you feel. And that's what it should be. And I understand, holding all of that in. But speaking as a person, my personal experience with grief, like my most traumatic, would be the loss of my mom. And I was 24 at the time. I'm the oldest daughter. So I automatically become a matriarch at 24 years old with a 5-year-old daughter. And it was just a really tough time. And my mother died in 2004. I didn't start therapy until my dad was dying in 2014 as a therapist and working in hospice. I never went and got professional help, until that time. And when I look back now, I see how I could have really gotten lost. In actually, I started a support group after the death of my father in 2015, and it's called Whole for the Holidays. It was supposed to be a one-time event, just to teach people how to navigate the holiday season. So after that one session, this lady says, please don't stop doing this. And then it went from 15 until the pandemic, once a month. It was like a free service once a month. But what I have learned in grief is that people have to have that space. And holidays are a point when, like you said, it used to be happy, but now we don't have mama's dressing or we don't have pawpaws, whatever. And so it becomes very apparent and very real, that they're gone. And that's really difficult to navigate. And being honest about that, when you're honest about your feelings, most time you unlock other people's ability to be able to feel that way too. So, I understand you don't want to be like a dark cloud, but then maybe taking some time to yourself to cry or to feel, or maybe there's some kind of new tradition you can put in place, where you acknowledge, we wish they were here, or we acknowledge, who can make the closest recipe, who can make this sweet potato pie or whatever taste the closest to this or something like that. Just finding creative ways to still include them, because I think with death, we think we have to forget people, and it's impossible, especially if they left like an indelible imprint on your life. It's impossible to do. So we just got to get more comfortable with being uncomfortable, even therapists, even whoever.
Absolutely.
So yes, thank you, Erin. That was good, Erin, for sharing that. I wanted to touch on some things that you said in terms of it's okay to cry. And I also want to say, if you don't cry, it's also okay, because I've heard people come to me and say, well, so-and-so died, I lost so-and-so, and I haven't cried yet, if something's wrong. Well, no, crying is not the indicator of, yes, I'm grieving and I'm grieving right, because there is no right way to grieve.
Absolutely.
And so also to what Cody was saying, that, you don't want to shit on the people that love you. You don't want to be this dark cloud. But at the end of the day, if you're grieving, then they're also sad. And so the encouragement here is, don't try to grieve by yourself.
Right.
For me, as a clinician, and even personally, I believe that the worst thing that any individual could ever do is try to grieve alone. I mean, you're lost, especially. And so that's why being a part of a community, knowing who your support system is, we talk about coping skills, knowing who your people are is very important. And at the time of loss, people always rush in. They want to know the story. They want to hug you. They want to hold you. They want to, wipe your tears. They want to be strong. And then, after the funeral, after some weeks go by, it's crickets, super duper quiet. So that's the toughest part of grief. But the important part is now proactively, because we all know at some point in life, we will lose something or someone, is to be able to be prepared and be able to say, hey, when this happens, I'm going to need you to blah, blah, blah. Just be here. I need you. You're my person. and if we're fortunate enough or blessed enough to know that we are in the process of grieving, meaning like what Aaron said, before the bereavement, before the actual death of the loved one, we can say, hey, you're my people. I'm going to need this. I'm probably not going to be talking very much. I'm probably going to disappear. I don't know what this is going to feel like, but I just need to know that you're here. Like being able to be aware that I don't know. I can't put to words, because here's the other part. I'm sorry, I'm going on these different tangents. When somebody dies and you're in the middle of that grief, people always say, what do you need? What do you need from me? The griever doesn't know. There's no words. There's no words. So I don't know. They can't think. So sometimes just jumping in and doing is the thing. Or sometimes just sitting there and just being quiet is the thing that's needed. So that is going to be.
We lost you. We lost your sound.
Okay.
I think she got like a text or something, maybe, in it.
Yeah, sorry about that. Am I back?
Yeah, you back. You back.
Yes. Sorry. And so, yeah, I lost.
You was on the road. You was on the road too.
So being able to be proactive in that regard, and just being able to talk beforehand, talk about the things beforehand. What Aaron said is very important. Just being able to be uncomfortable with the uncomfortable feelings. That's important. And I know that we don't know this. I know that we don't know. Am I back?
Yes.
Okay. I know that we don't know this as a community. We don't talk about it as a community. But here today is where we get the opportunity to just start talking, putting words to it, and just not criticizing and let's not judge it, and let's just be it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. So now that was very good. Y'all some amazing people. Let me try to get me some free therapy right now. So listen, I know Aaron, you gotta go. So just feel free to just
yeah, I just want to say, just in closing, but because I do have to go, and I hate that, because like I can talk about this particular thing. It's like my thing, because it is something that I wrestled with for a very long time, and I had like coming through to the other side and being able to lead other people or just tell other people you're gonna be okay. Like you're gonna have to hunker down and you're gonna have to wrestle with this pain, but you're gonna be okay. And so that's the encouragement, that I want to leave tonight, is that that you're going to be fine in terms of it, and your fine is going to be a different fine. It's going to be a new normal, and it's going to be different, but you can still have like a great life, even in the midst of, loss. And I mean, my mom, I was 24 and a single mom. By all accounts, her and my dad, my family, they were my village. You know what I'm saying? And she was really my co-parent. And I mean, Madison went to school where she taught, all of the things or whatever. And I did not realize at the time, because it was my life, how traumatic that was, how much a 24-year-old still needs to be parented, even though you're grown or, whatever. And I've noticed that a lot. I got really triggered most recently because Madison just turned 24. Oh, wow. And I was that age, and I was just like, she is so, you look at a young adult, you're like, you are so clueless. And so the responsibility that I assumed at that time, because I have a younger sister, she was only 18. My mother died the day before her birthday. Like, it was just a lot going on. Yeah. My dad depended on me like I was my mom. I look like my mom. I sound like my mom, all of the things. So it was a lot of expectations. So because I was always okay, or thought to be like smart and all of the things, nobody ever really thought I needed help. And I didn't really think I needed help, because I was like, I had seen my mom just push through so many things that I didn't realize, oh, that's probably not the best way to handle that. I really need to address this. Right. You know what I'm saying? So that would explain how even when I was dealing with anxiety and depression, my doctor eventually had to tell me, look, you need some medicine, because you are like trying to stomach like trying to shoulder way too much, and you're doing way too much. And and just to what the point that Natalie made about how we don't talk about things as a community, or how just all of these things, you're just like, oh my gosh, like we do need to talk about this. We need to talk about medication. We need to talk about, exercise and like all of these things that really do play into mental health. We need to start discussing that and like making some changes so that generationally we can, head in the right direction. And so,
Absolutely.
man, that losing my mom was a really, really, really big trauma for me.
Yeah. That's, and
I know we share that in common.
Absolutely. And that's for me, that's the toughest thing that I ever had to go through and experience. And it's one of the toughest things that I still have to overcome. I mean, I found myself, I actually, early this year in January, I went out to Hawaii and I was able to spread her ashes in the Hawaii Ocean because that's what she wanted. And, I felt like at that moment I was able to heal, right? From a lot of the pain that I was going through, just the duration. So each time we're dealing with the holidays and things like that,
Sure.
I try to make it a point to prepare myself for the feelings and emotions that I'll be feeling.
That's good.
But most importantly, be prepared in a way that just communicate that. You know what I'm saying? Be able to talk with it and help.
Yes.
And
Exactly
help
what Natalie
people.
said.
Yeah,
I don't know how
absolutely.
I'm feeling, like telling your wife, look, my stomach is upset. Like I'm feeling anxious
Yes.
or I'm feeling nervous or I smelled like if I used to be like back in the day when it first happened, because now, gosh, it's been 18, almost 20 years. But I can remember smelling like Pleasure's perfume and
Wow.
I might just collapse where I stand. And now I smell it and it's like, oh, mama, I miss you, that kind of thing. But at first, but it's so
just
many things.
Reframing those thoughts, because it's easy to think about, our mom, and then we get depressed and down and we start thinking about all the stuff that make us sad.
Right.
But it's a challenge, and we need to encourage each other and be encouraged to, when we do have those thoughts, to just go into the happy thoughts.
Right.
Think about them smiling, think about them laughing and making you feel, a way that's positive. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of what I deal with and what I go through. And you know what? I know we're talking about parents, right? But I don't want to skip over the people that's grieving other people too, because you have a lot of times when we lose like a friend, that kind of get dismissed. You know what I'm saying? Or like a cousin or uncle,
friend
auntie,
breakups, they're like, yeah.
all that, like that, those type of feelings and emotions of those people. If they're not a direct parent, people just be like, all right, you'll be all right. No, you don't know what that person meant to somebody. You don't know how close they was. You don't know these secrets that they're holding on to. You don't know any of that, right? And we always have to be able to give people grace and space to be able to be vulnerable, open up, and let you know how they actually feel, but make it okay for people to grieve these other things. You can grieve your family, but you can also grieve, your friends and things like that. I know we were talking about outside of just death, you know what I mean? As far as like losing a job or, these are very, very, very severe emotions that people go through that people are not talking about.
Right.
Just think about you. You got a job,
And Erin was saying she had to go.
And that job is taking care of, your household, your family, right? And then all of a sudden, you don't have a job no more, right? And not only do you not have a job anymore, when you're trying to look for jobs, you don't got nothing paying you $100,000. You got to, you know what I mean? But that $100,000 is what was sustaining your lifestyle or your family's lifestyle or what, I'm just throwing that number out there just to throw it out there. But just think about that and just think about the opportunities that doesn't present themselves. And now all you can do is think about this job that just left you. You know what I mean? The situation that's gone.
Yeah,
it's another one.
Because it's not just the job. It's you. If you're the man or the sole breadwinner or whatever the case, it's an identity that you're losing, like that you're falling back from too. And like the lifestyle, like you said, it's so many things that your confidence just gets shattered by situations like that. I've been through foreclosure. I've been through job loss and different things like that, and how it can really, you think, and it's not even necessarily that you're a materialistic person. It's just like but that was my stuff.
Yeah.
And like, you know, there's a certain prestige and status that goes with owning and all of those kinds of things. And so like all of those things. And I was like, Lord, I don't want to learn about losing nothing else. Like if my humility is not at a certain place or whatever, like I hear you or whatever. And that happened the same year that my dad died.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I always refer to 2014 as the year that tried to kill me. Like really.
Can you guys hear me?
I mean, I lost my job like not long after. I was already taking less hours because I was caring for him, which started to cause me to be behind. And then he got more sick, you know, and everything. And then in October, so May we buried him. June my house foreclosed. In October I lost my job.
Oh man.
Yeah. So those multiple traumas that keep like you trying to get up, but you can't. And your serotonin levels are in the toilet and just all of the things. So yeah, it's been a journey for sure. And I'm thankful for the time that I've had to speak with you all tonight. I look forward to doing it again.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely. No, I know you got to go. Thank you for your insight. Thank you for your knowledge. Thank you for your expertise. Listen, y'all, y'all got some from her. Please put an AU in the comment. But also, you can actually join her group on the AU in the private community that we have. So join the community. Go to Adversity U online. Go to Adversity University on IG. The link is in the bio, and tap in. I appreciate you, Aaron.
Always, Cody. I appreciate you. Thank you. Absolutely. Bye, Natalie.
Bye bye.
We got to get Natalie back in this thing. Natalie, I'm about to get you back into this to this live. So let's figure this out. All right. So, let me get you back in.
Can you hear me on the StreamYard?
Send your invite.
What happened? It's not.
Did I do it right?
Can you hear me?
Huh?
Can you hear me?
You say what?
Can you hear me on the?
I can hear you over here. I can't hear you over here.
Okay. Yeah. What?
What happened? You can't get in?
No, it's not coming up yet. I thought something came up. Can you send me another invite?
Yeah, let me Yeah, I just sent it. It's not coming through?
Nope. I guess it will. It's just taking time.
It say Natalie unable to join.
Why?
Is it the internet?
There we go. Go live. Here we are.
We in there like swimwear.
All right.
So if you're on IG, Natalie was on live the whole time, but just not IG. So you was able to hear everything, obviously. I know we talked a lot about the grieving experience, but I want to kind of get some of your knowledge and expertise on coping with grief or whatever you want to speak to, really. Okay, I can't hear you.
Okay, this is because I'm really trying to gather my thoughts. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
because really, what's really on my heart is, okay, so coping, I mean, there's a lot because generationally, if we go back to slavery, there was never any space to grieve loss. And there was lots of loss. We know this. It was get back to work,
right.
which is what we do now.
That's what we do now. That's crazy. Wow.
We just push through it.
Right. That ain't healthy at all.
At all. But when we start to do it, it feels normal. It feels regular because it's in our genes. It's in our blood. This is what the generations before us have always done. And then it just comes out in a bad temper. It comes out in a blowout, and it comes out in tears at inappropriate times. And then you feel crazy. I've had lots of clients tell me I feel crazy. One moment I'm okay, one moment I'm not. It just feels like something's going on in my brain. I don't know what's wrong with me. Well, you're grieving. And it's very possible, we're now learning in research that it's possible that we are grieving for the generations before us that never had the space and never had the words to moan and groan and cry and feel what now we have the privilege to feel, because we are in a safer space because of the sacrifice of Martin Luther King Jr. and the civil rights movement. I'm going there.
All right, go ahead. Go. I'm following you. You. Go ahead.
So the encouragement here is the first way to cope is to just feel it. And the other part of it is our feelings are big. Our feelings are intense. Now I'm saying I don't know everybody, and I don't know every African American, and obviously, but I'm just going to go ahead and propose that those of us who are from African descent feel deeply. We are very expressive with our emotions. Right? I mean, we make jokes about things when somebody goes to a funeral. Oh, Lord, so and so died, and they talk to the person. I thought you was going, and for a lot of us, it's cute and it's funny, but it's real. They're falling all the way out.
Mm-hmm.
It's intense.
Yeah, it's real.
So
it's absolutely real.
We do not ever need to stifle it in the name of being strong. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. Can we stop trying to be strong when we're grieving? May we please?
Yes, absolutely. Listen, go ahead. I don't want to cut you off. Go ahead.
And so even in that, when people want to be strong for you, it's perfectly appropriate to say, you don't have to be strong for me. Because Erin said something earlier. She said it opens up the avenue when we allow ourselves to feel. It opened up the avenue and opportunities for the people around us to feel too. Okay, well, Cody's crying and he's shedding a tear. Then I feel sad. Oh my God, I've never seen Cody like this. And then I want to cry. And then I want to hug, and I want to console. And we're all in this moment together. Trust me, somebody will stop crying and gather themselves together and be able to function through to the next set of tears and through the next angry outburst. I'm going through the grief stages, and through the next phase of bargaining where I wonder, if I had done this differently, would she still be alive? And through the next point of denial of maybe they'll come back. This is not true and this is not real. And then shock. I wanted to also mention that recently a couple years ago, there was a book that came out by David Kessler called The Making Meaning, the 6th Stage of Grief. David Kessler studied grief with Elizabeth, I forgot her last name, but the originator of the 5 stages of grief. So he added a 6th stage where in coping after acceptance, you can make new meaning of your life and make meaning of the life of the person that you've lost. We're talking about death now. And, by saying, like what Erin was saying, every year we have a, cooking contest to see whose recipe tastes most like the loved one. But even in, let's go take this to relationships and breakups and divorce, right? And what you said, Cody, was very important in that we can still remember good things. We can still reframe that relationship that no longer exists. Well, I have 3 beautiful children out of this marriage that no longer is, and that's a good thing. So yes, the marriage didn't last the way I wanted it to, and I'm hurt by it. But I have these 3 beautiful children. My co-parent and I are still able to co-parent amicably. It's not all horrible. I'm sad about it. I've been sad about it, but it's not all the end, right?
Right.
So I lose money. Ooh, who wants to lose money? But it happens. So yeah, what's the good thing that can come out of that? I'll make sure I know where my wallet is. Or I'll make sure that I have savings somewhere. We can always find a silver lining in a loss. That silver lining is not going to come out on the front end, but we're never going to be clear on the silver lining if we don't allow ourselves to feel through the disappointment of the loss.
Yeah. No, that
Okay.
you went in. You went in. How can I come back from that? How can I follow that? Huh?
Hey, however you want to follow it, however you want to come back from that. And I'm gonna take it a step further, okay? Because my homeboy and I, shout out to Lawrence Souffrant, Pastor Lawrence Souffrant. Shout out to you. He's a wonderful mentor, wonderful pastor. He said something that was salient and very powerful. He said, in the church community, we have not learned how to be disappointed when we experience loss. So we're praying God save, praying God deliver from drugs. God, I don't want my relative to die, and the relative dies. Okay, that's disappointing. I asked you, I had faith. But sometimes God says, no, I want them to die. And I still want you to be close to me, and I still love you. It's still disappointing. It's okay. And it's still God loving to say, I don't like you right now, God, because you didn't do what I asked you to do. We have to learn how to be disappointed, move through it in our community, and come out and still be happy about it. All right, I'm still going. It's okay to be happy while you're grieving. It's okay to laugh. It's okay to laugh.
Absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with it.
You know what? That's it's crazy. I love, these discussions and topics, man, when we talking about this. Sometimes I feel, what about those people that feel like they all cried out?
If they're all cried out, then just sit and just be.
Sit and just be.
Yeah.
You ain't got to always move, right?
No.
You ain't got to always have the answer right then, right?
No, you don't.
Mm-hmm.
No, you don't always have to have the answer. You don't always have to be moving and doing and being busy. No, just sit and be. And it's okay to go to sleep. How many people do you know are afraid to take a nap? Because if I'm not doing anything, it means I'm ... Go to sleep.
Go to sleep.
Take your sad self to bed.
Mm-hmm.
Eat something nutritious. I'm talking coping skills. Eat something nutritious. And sometimes eat what you want to eat.
Absolutely.
Binge watch. Do what makes you feel better, but do not do it by yourself for an extended period of time.
You definitely can't do that. It's only going to make stuff worse. So I got a word. I mean, you and Aaron definitely, gave some real good insight on just grief and just different ways to cope and manage with the grief and the experiences that you have. And just, I want to encourage everybody, if you're feeling some form of grief, number one, go to adversityonline.com and join the grief group.
Absolutely.
And also the trauma and healing group, right?
Yes.
And also the core belief, the harmful core belief self-esteem group. But,
yes.
Most importantly, when you're feeling these ways, these negative ways, man, just make sure that you are expressing that to people. Don't suffer in silence, people. It's not gonna do you no good. It don't mean you any good. And most of all, we want everybody to be their best self, right?
Yeah.
We want you to be able to show up as the person that you are, express yourself as the person you are without any judgment. And for the most part, we gotta go through these emotions. There's a process as it relates to grief. They keep saying I got a headphone, but there's a process as it relates to grief. And you got to go through the process. Most important, I know everybody hear the same thing, but trust the process.
So let's take this just a step further with, what happened? Okay.
I lost the sound.
Oh my God. Are you there?
You say what?
I had my charger on. I don't know.
It done died on you?
It died, and I had it connected to the charger.
It's all good. It's all good. I'm gonna wrap up over here. Then we're gonna wrap up over here.
Okay.
All right, but look.
Okay, yeah, and we'll because I'd like to because I have a Butterfly podcast, and Cody Martin will be my guest on Butterfly podcast, in which we will continue the discussion on grief, because I want to speak to my Butterfly listeners, and we will continue. We will refer this recording, and we'll go from there.
Absolutely. Shout out Butterfly podcast. I will be on the Butterfly podcast. Yes. Just talking some real stuff, just like I do. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
Natalie, thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate your time, your effort, your knowledge, and your expertise.
Thank you.
Again, everybody, you could definitely, join Natalie's support group, Detach Your Trauma. No, the triggers from your trauma.
That's
trauma
right.
healing group, man. It's very important. We all experience trauma. And we all can use some help in ways to be able to navigate and overcome and cope with some of that trauma that we experienced in the past. So definitely tap in, join those groups. And again, Natalie, thank you. I appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you. You have a blessed night, blessed evening, and a blessed rest of your week.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
And to my IG people, I love y'all. Continue to support. Make sure y'all tapping in, share, tag people. We're going to do these, every other Tuesday, but it's going to turn into every Tuesday.
Good.
And if y'all got any topics that y'all want to hear us discuss or you need some insight about, make sure you DM me, Cody Motivation, or you DM Adversity University, or post it in the comments. I mean, we read these things, and we want to make sure that we're being able to support you, give you some insight. Like I always say, knowledge is power, but shared knowledge is more powerful. And perseverance is the key to overcome all adversity. So never give up. No matter what life throws at you, focus on the solution. Keep your feet moving and focus on the solution. And let success be your goal.
Yeah.
We out of here.
Sorry about all the